Hi, I'm Rick of Rick Saw Designs, here today with a quick video on why I chose to pull the trigger on buying a SawStop finally. And don't forget, like this video, subscribe to this video. I appreciate you guys. Thanks. I realize there's a lot of people who've made videos of the unboxing part of this, and I really wanted to focus on the decision-making part and why I could justify it, why it felt like the right decision for me. Okay, so why did it take so long for me to buy a SawStop? Well, no surprise here, it's probably cost, right? It's a significant amount of investment. I'll tell you how much I paid for this setup at the end of the video. But that was probably the biggest pause for me in this process. Space is a little bit of a consideration. These are larger than my current setup, so I would need to be able to manipulate things, move things around to be able to fit it in properly, but not a huge consideration along the way. And then I suppose, reasonably here, I had to find that this was going to provide me some more utility than what I currently have. If I didn't have that utility, then it seems like I wasn't going to spend my money well. I decided that it was the right move for me. Let me tell you why. So the first thing is it would give me more confidence. I love my current setup. It's been doing me well for the last 10 years, but it is a contractor saw. It's a cobalt saw. The fence moves a little bit and it's very light because it's a contractor saw. So when I'm putting 8/4 walnut through, it moves. I don't like that. The fence moves during repetitious cuts. I don't like that. This is going to give me a lot more confidence in making those cuts with the heavy base especially. Second, of course, is safety. It's probably the biggest reason why people are buying SawStop. They have a technology that basically sends an electric current through the blade. When that current gets conducted back through the mechanism, the blade stops, gets buried inside a brake cartridge. It does ruin this cartridge, by the way, so you'll need to buy a new one. But most importantly, it keeps your finger in place. Safety certainly is a great advantage to this. But I'll be honest, I've been using a table saw for 30 years, haven't really had an accident. You certainly hear about them. I've always put safety first, and I don't intend on stopping that just because I have this extra layer of protection there along the way. And that's important to note too, but I do like the extra layer of protection. I like my fingers. And third, having that precision, having that ability to repetitively make cuts, accurate cuts, is really important for what I'm doing. And so that's a big advantage for me. That cast iron surface, the fence that's going to hold tight to where it is. Those are big advantages to me over my current setup. So those are the reasons behind why I bought this. So once you decide you're going to buy a SawStop, you go to their website, you go through the setup, and you figure out what you're looking for along the way. So there's some easy decisions to make right away. So the first thing I explained, I had a contractor level saw. It was mobile and it was lightweight, not what I'm looking for. That cut out 3 levels of theirs. They call it the compact, the job site, and the contractor saw. And so I was down to 2 levels left, a professional and an industrial level saw. The industrial level saws are just too much for me, so the professional saw was the easy right choice for me there. Then I had to choose between 2 different horsepower motors. There's a 1.75, which requires a regular old house circuit, but a 20 amp breaker on that particular circuit, or the 3.0, which does require the 220 or 221, or whatever it takes, if you know what I'm talking about. Make sure you know that before you go ahead and buy those motors. The decision for me was pretty easy. I went with a 3.0. I just would have regretted so much putting a 8/4 piece of walnut through and having it, slow down, burn the wood. I work with maple a lot. I'm sure if you work with maple, you realize how susceptible that is to burning. I didn't like that. So I didn't want to regret it later. So it was another $500 for that other motor, but I think it's well worth it. Again, that's me. The other choice you then have to get to make is the fence system. They have a 30, a 36, and a 52. 52 is much too big for me. I don't do that kind of work. That's fine. So I got down to the 36, which I was leaning towards, and the 30. The nice thing about going to the local woodcraft store I was in is I was able to touch and move things, and I felt a lot more confidence in the 36. And since my biggest complaint probably with the old setup was precision and accuracy, it was going to be an easy decision for me. So I went with the 36 T-guide system along the way. Very importantly here, I also put together a industrial mobile base with it. There's two kind of bases they offer. If you want to have it move around, you don't have to get this at all. But I chose the one with the hydraulics in it because as I get older, I don't want to push things around more than I have to. So that seemed like a good idea to me. I also did buy some other components. I bought an extra brake set. This one's actually for a dado. I have a dado stack already, but I don't have the cartridge here. So I need to buy a cartridge for that when I switch to a dado blade. And I also bought another zero clearance dado table insert, which I'll cut the first time I make the first dado cuts. There are some other options along the way that I chose not to go with. There was a router base, a dust collection, a couple of dust collection systems, various extension tables. I can add them a couple years from now, but there weren't things I needed right away. Maybe I'll add them, maybe I won't later. But the nice part is with the SawStop setup, I can clearly come back a couple years from now and go, hey, I want to add that on here. And I'm going to be able to do that. So I love that versatility there. I like that versatility a lot. Now it came down to the decision time, right? We get here a lot with a lot of choices we make. I've already explained some of the reasons why I like the SawStop. We talked about the confidence, we talked about the safety, we talked about the precision. All are really great reasons to get a SawStop. But really, $4,200, which is the cost I ended up paying for this setup, isn't a little bit of money, at least to me. And I wanted to make sure it was worth that investment. From a purely business standpoint, just to make things easy, I'd have to sell 100 products at $42 profit each to break even on this. Now, of course, I can extend that over a lot of years and a lot of different products. So it's really not hard to get to that number, but it's still out there. So on the other hand, I try to justify bigger payments all the time by looking at a lot of other decisions. For instance, I could pay $420 in a car payment for the next 10 months to replace my 10-year-old 186,000 mile car, or I could keep driving that for 10 months. I'm okay driving the older car, so it doesn't really bother me. By the way, with those car payments, you got to keep paying years and years on end. I really expect this to be the last table saw I'm going to buy. I might add on some of those other accessories along the way, but this looks plenty enough for what I intend to do, even with a small business as I go forward here. When I'm done with it altogether, somebody's gonna be able to take this. It'll be a great saw. It'll be good for years on end. So I feel really good about this particular choice. I'm gonna get a buddy of mine to help me bring this down to the ground because it is 400 pounds. So thanks for watching.